For things that fall apart because of people, more often than not it starts with a small joke rather than a big insult. And when those small jokes are repeated, sooner or later your place has already been lowered. Why is it that what you could laugh off at first, after time passes, becomes a sign that you can be treated carelessly? And how should we do that? How can I prevent myself from having to lower myself, without breaking a good relationship? At first, I just brushed it off with a laugh. I didn't want to ruin the atmosphere, and I didn't want to seem like some overly sensitive person for no reason. I didn't think they meant it in a bad way. It's probably because we're close, it's probably because it feels comfortable. Since we're like that with each other, we probably have to let it go to that extent. But that's strange. Even after laughing it off, my mind isn't at ease. I came home, washed up, and lay down on the bed, but that remark keeps coming back to me. Everyone laughed at my mistake. That I blurted out like a nickname joke, in front of people. But I couldn't laugh in that moment at that time. It wasn't that you were the one who felt offended. Some standard within you was quietly crossed. But many people, right here, doubt themselves first. Am I just too sensitive, or was that person always the kind to joke around a lot? If I can't get past something like this with someone I'm close with, does that mean I'm narrow-minded? But long ago, one sage who looked at the raw truth of human relationships with a cold eye didn't see intimacy between people as something beautiful only in every case. He knew people can become warmer as they get closer. But it's also true that the closer they are, the more they can start treating you thoughtlessly, so comfort is a good thing. But the moment comfort swallows respect, the relationship begins to tilt little by little. The other person no longer treats you with caution. It doesn't look at your expression, doesn't ask about your time, and doesn't consider your pride. And then it says, "Why is this between us?" Sometimes this sounds like something warm to say. But in some relationships, it becomes the most dangerous kind of talk. Because once you start saying we're in a relationship, the other person begins to drop their formalities. If that phrase is repeated, you find yourself gradually placed in a strange position. If you get upset, the sensitive person has to put up with it. If you stay quiet, you're seen as easy. If you speak up, you're the one who ruins the mood. If you let it go, you're the one who keeps getting taken advantage of. At this fork in the road, good people often stop frequently. And most of the time, they choose to set aside their own feelings. But that hurt doesn't go away, it quietly builds up. At first it accumulates as discomfort, and later it hardens into resentment. The reasons a relationship breaks down aren't always due to a big incident. It's because we allowed small rudeness to go unchecked for too long. If you can't tell the difference between closeness and rudeness, the people closest to you will hurt you more deeply. Because words from someone far away just pass by, while words from someone close leave a lasting mark. Because they believed they knew me. That's why it hurts more. As the relationship becomes closer, etiquette shouldn't get less, it should become more refined. The closer the person, the more they should know how far I'm allowed to go. The closer the person, the better they should know what not to say. But in reality, things often go the other way around. Because you've gotten friendlier, the other person calls you more easily. They ask more easily. They make jokes more easily. And when you say you're uncomfortable, they ask even more questions. Why have you gotten so sharp lately? Right before this sentence, many people shut their mouths again. From that moment on, the relationship is maintained on the surface, but slowly falls apart underneath. There is a person in the company named Ji-hoon. Within the team, Ji-hoon is fairly average. He works diligently, and gets along well with others. Without saying anything particularly blunt, they also match the mood at the get-togethers after work. When a new hire comes in, they first let them know, and, if coworkers are busy, They help within their own schedule, so the team members feel at ease around Jihyun. At first, that was good. The word convenient felt like it meant something that was trusted to a certain extent. But as time passed, the shape of that convenience gradually changed. Before the meeting, someone says, "Jihyun, you know he likes things like this." At first, it was a light joke. Jihyun also smiled. Then, at the next meeting, the same file name that Jihyun previously messed up comes up again. Ah, right. Back then, Jihyun put in the wrong number. And everything blew up, and laughter spread through the meeting room. Jihyun laughs too. More precisely, he laughs as if he is. But from then on, that mistake keeps following them around within the team like Jihyun's nickname. Number checking Jihyun, reviewing Jihyun, pretending to be thorough, Jihyun. A colleague who speaks up like that doesn't seem malicious. It isn't something I'm saying because I genuinely hate you. So it's even more ambiguous. It's hard to get openly angry. And it still feels uncomfortable to just let it slide. Jihyun thought that up until then, he had been matching the atmosphere well. But in people's memories, the repeated laughter had gradually changed him into someone they no longer needed to be careful around. An important meeting will be held a few days later. People from other departments have also come in. The team lead asks about the progress of this project, and each person shares what they're responsible for. The moment Jihyun hands over the materials to explain his part, the colleague next to him smiles and says something. This time, the numbers matched up correctly, didn't they? Laughter comes again in the meeting room. Someone lightly bows their head and laughs, while someone else glances over at Jihyun. Even the team leader lets out a quiet snicker. In that brief laugh, Jihyun misses his chance to speak. The sequence of explanations he had just been holding in his head momentarily gets thrown off. He looks back at the screen and continues what he'd prepared to say, but the voice becomes a little lower. The explanation is over, but somehow their own materials look less solid, because the image of the person who made the mistake became the first thing to appear in the meeting room. Someone who's the butt of jokes, someone you can casually poke. After the meeting ends, Jihyun returns to his seat. A colleague follows and says, "Were you upset earlier?" "I was just joking." "Why are you acting like that?" Jihyun says, "It's okay. But it's not okay." The reason that statement was, "The problem isn't simply because I felt offended. It's because, in public, my credibility was slightly undermined." Jihyun wasn't shaken because he couldn't make the materials. In the repeated jokes, you were first treated as a lighthearted person, so you lost the weight of your self-explanation. A joke told in front of people doesn't just end as a joke. It becomes the lens through which you see that person. There's always one time when you can laugh it off. But if it happens repeatedly, a joke becomes a reputation. And once it becomes a reputation, it connects to opportunities in one's work. Jihyun spends a long time that night thinking about why he feels so uncomfortable. Is it because my coworker is a bad person? Is it because I'm just too narrow-minded? If I can't tolerate even jokes like this at work, does that mean I can't handle social life? But in fact, the discomfort Jihyun felt was very accurate. He didn't feel insulted. He saw a scene where the lines started to blur. When people get too used to something, they tend to underestimate it easily. At first, even words you try to be careful with may feel lighter once you hear them often. At first, even requests you make in private can become something you simply do once you're willing to say yes to them again and again. At first, even stories that belong only to personal matters become public jokes once you can laugh them off. What was needed then was not big anger. A short, firm line. Jihyun didn't need to shout at that moment. There was no need to provide a long explanation. He should have said something like this: "That story is about private matters, so I would prefer it not be discussed in a public setting." This sentence is not a call to fight. It is also not an insult that attacks the other person's character. It is simply a message that draws a clear boundary, and the line quiets down and ends. The more you see it for the first time, the later you see it, the more the feelings mix in, even if the other person has already passed 10 times. When I speak on the 11th, my voice carries the resentment that has piled up over that time. Then the other person looks more at your attitude than the content. Why suddenly get angry? When it comes to that moment, the problem changes from crossing the line, jokes to your sensitivity. So you should say it in small terms, right at the first uncomfortable moment. Before the relationship is broken, you must restore the etiquette within it. This time, it's a story outside the company. The same thing can happen between friends, too. There's an old friend get-together we've met since the early 20s. And we've gradually learned about each other's dating, jobs, marriage, and failures. At first, that long history felt comforting. It felt like we understood each other, without having to say anything, like we didn't have to put on airs. And there was a sense of security that only comes from people who have been together for a long time. But in long-standing relationships, there's another kind of risk. The moment you think you know each other too well, you stop seeing who the other person is right now. You still call them by their old nickname, still tease them for their old mistakes, and still overwrite the current person with the old image. Among my friends, there's Tae Seong. Tae Seong speaks quickly, and is good at bringing up the mood. At gatherings, he always brings laughter. The issue is that the ingredients for that laugh are often someone's sensitive spot. If a friend gains weight, you say, now you have to manage yourself. When a friend is thinking about changing jobs, you're always like, you just worry all the time. And if a friend stays quiet, you say, did I upset you? Why are you so touchy now that you're getting older? People smile. Since she is an old friend, I think we should smile. If we don't smile, I think we'll become the person who ruins the atmosphere. People weren't unaware of someone else's discomfort. It's just that in long-standing relationships, even that discomfort would sometimes pass by as if it were part of the jokes. One day, in a gathering, Taeshang tells you, "Why, this Saturday, help me out with the move. You already have an appointment." That day is when we decided to rest for the first time in a while. But Taesung keeps saying this. You know we're still capable of doing things like this. You've done it well before, too. Can't you even do something like that between friends? It starts out like a request, but it ends up feeling like pressure. While you hesitate, another friend repeats it with a laugh. Yeah, you've got the strength. If you go this time. 2. It seems that at that moment an odd atmosphere will form. If you help, you become a good friend. If you refuse, you're seen as someone stingy, that kind of vibe. You end up saying it anyway. Okay, I get it. I'll try to match the timing. Once when that moment comes, part of my heart crumbles. Because I know it's not something I said to actually help, but something I said because it was hard to refuse. That choice looked like a decision made for my friend. But in reality, it was one more time I put my own time on hold within the relationship. In a friendship, what hurts even more is realizing that the other person isn't automatically just the bad one. Tae Seong may have truly thought of you as someone who would feel at ease. He may have thought that he liked you, trusted you, and could rely on you. But there is only a fine line between relying on someone and using them. If the other person doesn't ask about my circumstances, it's not consideration, it's offloading their burden. If the other person doesn't respect my refusal, it's not intimacy, it's control. If the other person gives me fewer options by saying we're together, it's not friendship, it's pressure in the relationship. It doesn't mean you have to hate your friend. It means there should be boundaries, even between friends. You can leave the door open. But if you remove even the threshold, people won't take off their shoes and still come in. Your time, your feelings, and your pride must not be trampled on carelessly, just because they have something to do with someone you're close to. The longer the relationship has lasted, the more careful you should be. Saying it's been around for a long time isn't a permission slip to be rude. Saying it's been around for a long time means there's even more to lose. But many people end up losing themselves while trying to keep old relationships. My friend stays, and I disappear. The get-together is maintained, but my heart gradually slips away. Even as I go into that relationship, I'm tired even before I go. On my way back after meeting, why was I listening to those words again? Why did I agree to that request again? This thought repeats. Why did I just laugh it off again? From that moment on, the relationship becomes a chore, rather than a pleasure. Ji-hoon's meeting room and Tae Seong's friends get-together seem like stories from different places. But the inner structure was the same. While closeness accumulated, the boundaries of etiquette were not managed together, and into that gap came jokes, requests, and pressure. The name of that old sage I mentioned at the start was Baltasar Gracián. He did not believe that having only the heart was enough when dealing with people. In relationships, I thought that distance, formality, and dignity are necessary. If you translate Gracián's wisdom into today's relationship language, it looks like this. People who get too used to something tend to look down on others easily. If you want to be respected, you also need to manage your behavior and manners in public. This doesn't mean you should treat people coldly. It doesn't mean you should never get close to people either. It means that in order to keep a relationship going for a long time, you should leave manners within intimacy. People don't always love the people closest to them more. Sometimes we treat the people closest to us more carelessly. Because it's close, I mistakenly think everything is fine. Because I've known them for a long time, I believe I can let things slide. No matter what I say, I think this person will eventually not leave. So the closer the relationship, the more clearly I need to show my boundaries. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls. It's about putting up pillars, so the relationship doesn't fall apart. From now on, there are 3 criteria. First, please don't just brush off awkward jokes right away. At first, you can say it very gently. I'd prefer that you don't say that in public. I'd prefer that you don't use that nickname anymore. That story makes me uncomfortable. This is enough. You don't have to push the other person from the start. But if you don't say anything, the other person will think everything is really fine. People can't read your true thoughts. If you smile, I'll take that smile as permission. In your second public appearance, draw a short, firm line. Public jokes should be stopped at public boundaries. If you brush it off by thinking, I'll talk about it later, the mood at that moment is already set. Of course, you don't need to fight very much. Actually, the shorter the better. I won't discuss that here. That's hard to dismiss as a joke. That part is my personal domain. Short sentences give the other person less room to wriggle out. If you explain at length, the other person will try to debate your feelings. Why are you taking it that way? That's not what I meant. You've been so sensitive lately. So when you set boundaries, it's better not to drag out the reasons at length. Boundaries aren't about explanation, they're the standard. Separate closeness and rudeness, talk about them as distinct things. This sentence is important. Yes, we're close. But that makes me uncomfortable. It's true that I've known you for a long time, but you shouldn't assume my schedule is set. I can help. But it's difficult to decide without asking about my time. You should say this. It's about not denying the close relationship itself, but pointing out only the rude behavior and separating it out. That way, the other person becomes less defensive too, and you're less swayed by guilt. Here is the sentence you can actually use today. That story is private, so I'd prefer not to share it in public. Remember this sentence. You can use it at work. You can use it with friends. And you can use it at family gatherings. It's gentle, but clear. It doesn't attack the other person, but it doesn't erase me either. The reason you haven't said things like this until now isn't because you're afraid. It's because I didn't want to lose the relationship. I didn't want to ruin the mood, or make the other person feel embarrassed. And I wanted to stay a good person. That feeling was not wrong. It's proof that you value your relationships. But the way you once protected yourself may now be keeping you trapped. If you've kept the relationship by holding back, then now, you should keep it by speaking. If you've been adjusting the mood by brushing things off with a laugh, then now you should set the standard with short sentences. You're not overly sensitive. It's that the other person mistook familiarity for a permission slip. You're not trying to become a cold person. It's about building a healthier relationship that lasts longer. You are not trying to end the relationship. You're trying to make sure you don't disappear within the relationship. The kinder a person is, the more they feel sorry for setting boundaries. But kindness without boundaries can't last long. At first, you endure with good intentions, but later you drift away with a hurt heart. At first, you stay silent to protect the relationship, but later that silence makes the relationship rot. So, connection is not the enemy of love. Love is the oxygen in a relationship. It's an invisible space that's close enough to feel present, yet gives you room to breathe, allowing both of you to respect each other. Here is the sentence to leave on your subconscious today. Even when I get closer, I keep my boundaries. This sentence is not a cold declaration. This is a declaration to respect myself. This is a declaration that I will not hate those close to me. However, it is also a declaration that I will not let those close to me treat me carelessly. Try leaving this sentence in today's comments. Even if I get closer, I still keep my boundaries. This is the guideline for when someone casually crosses a line, so you know when to speak up. Here's a sentence to hold on to when someone next time tries to pressure you. By saying, "We're something between us." In the time we've had, we learned how not to stay as someone who is merely appreciated, but to become someone who is necessary. But even if you become someone necessary, if you cross a line, you end up being used up again as someone convenient. Next time, we move on to the skill of actually speaking those words. Refusal is not a way to cut off a relationship. It is the most dignified standard that says you won't abandon me. The next page of your life's book will surely shine more gracefully and powerfully. Mind Library.